More Big 12 media days. The Thunder won last night in the Summer League. They beat the Pacers. Chet Holmgren was awesome. 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 blocks. Ousmane Dieng at 22. We are the Morning Animals.
Broadcasting sponsored by Parish Devon Injury Lawyer. Visit pepperwinds.com. This is WWLS-FM, The Village, Oklahoma City, your home of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the sports animal, a Cumulus station.
I'm really excited about this season. In fact, I think it's going to be a year of celebration. We're going to celebrate our continuing 8. We're going to celebrate our new 4. And in fact, we're going to celebrate Texas and Oklahoma and all the contributions they've made to this conference since day one, because they'll always be a big part of this conference. So for me, it's really a year of celebration, and we're very excited about it.
I think Bowman's 24, I think. Big difference in a 24-year-old and a 19-year-old, in my opinion. Not foolproof, but most 24-year-olds are going to be a little more calm. They've been through it. You know, he served some time at Tech with Kingsbury. Obviously, he's a good coach. He's been at Michigan with Harbaugh, that system. Good coach, I'm guessing. So I think that's helped him. But just the maturity level of a 24-year-old is much different than a 19 or 20-year-old.
5-point game. Butler, the lob. Holmgren, the finish.
Welcome to your Thursday, July 13th. We are the Morning Animals, Nzinga Spinozzi, Curtis Fitzpatrick, and Kerry Murdoch. And we are live from Big 12 Media Days as we speak, sponsored, by the way, by Grand Casino, Fire Lake Casino, and our friends at Bud Light.
Curtis is on the TV.
He is. Curtis is streaming live. Actually, we all are. Essentially, the audio is streaming live along with videos of Curtis live from Big 12 Media Days. Any social media that you follow the sports animal on, that's where the video is playing. So you got Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, what have you. So definitely check out all of our social media, and you could see Curtis's hat of the day, which I haven't looked at yet.
It's the Oklahoma City Dodgers. He's alone. He's a man alone in a stadium. It really does look like Curtis is the only human being in Jerry World right now.
I am not, but there are more people here early today than there were yesterday because they had a little bit of a later start. But yesterday when the crowd rolled in, it was big. But yeah, more people here earlier because the press conferences are going to start early.
And you said it was packed yesterday.
Oh, yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah, it was yes. We'll talk about that coming up.
Whenever anybody comes by, it's like, because I can see all the tables on you and I can see that you're on Radio Row. Maybe if we can just get kind of a shot of the whole room at some point this morning when we get 12 Things to Beard back. I'd like to see the whole setup.
He's back, and our man Cisco's back. So we've got requests, and we will honor those requests. Spinozzi wants to see the whole stadium and setup. So I'm telling our boss what to do, which is very uncomfortable right now.
Please do. Yes. Belittle him while you're at it.
I will belittle him.
I have directorial credits going on right now.
Very nice. Yeah, definitely. And don't forget Selena, the coffee matron. We want to get a picture of her as well.
Yeah, you'll love her Java.
All right, it is time for your McBride Orthopedic Hospital Clinic First Take.
What time is it?
It's the McBride Orthopedic Hospital Clinic First Take, brought to you by McBride Orthopedic Hospital Clinic, Oklahoma's most trusted choice in orthopedic care. McBride is 100% physician-owned and has the best team of physicians in the state. The McBride Orthopedic Hospital Clinic First Take on WWLS, the sports animal.
All right, so as Phil said, we are streaming with video right now on top of our normal audio platform, so you can find us everywhere. And Phil, you alluded to this earlier. I've been to most of these Big 12 media days since the conference began. I mean, I've been to a lot of them. And yesterday was as crowded and as big a crowd as I have ever seen. Now, it makes sense. There's 14 teams, so more teams means more media, but you might think interest has waned a little bit with OU and Texas leaving, but there was a lot of buzz, a lot of national people here, but some impressions of the first day, it was jammed. And Radio Row, I mean, don't believe what you hear about radio because it was packed. Sports radio is alive and well, I can tell you that here in Arlington. And to me, the biggest thing that stood out among some of the incoming teams, BYU, they brought everybody, like the whole BYU family, I think, came because it was brawling BYU media. Nicest people in the world, by the way. Houston and Central Florida, both Cougars. The mascot for Houston, much better, much more menacing, and probably fit the Cougar mold more than the BYU one. But the BYU crowd, again, was great. Brought the cheerleaders. Kalani Sitake, their head coach, might be the nicest guy in the world. It was good seeing Dana Holgerson. Central Florida had the best mascot, I think, of anybody. Nitro, spelled with a K at the beginning, was fantastic. And then, my Texas Longhorns came through as the favorite, the preseason favorite. And I've already got a bet with Spinozzi on how many games they're going to win. I must say, though, I had somebody tell me right before Steve Sarkisian went on the podium and said, hey, the most boring man in this building is about to take the stage. And he was not wrong. And it was there's something weird about Steve Sarkisian I can't buy into. But I do think he's going to have a good football team. And then, Mike Gundy is not backing off his sentiment toward OU and the Bedlam rivalry. And he was very clear about that a year ago and throughout the season and in the offseason. He is not in a hurry to go schedule OU, so I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. He talked about all the games they have scheduled out. He didn't budge on naming a quarterback, although I think we all think it's going to be Alan Bowman. He was bragging about his age and how that makes a difference. So some observations from day one at Big 12 Media Day. I was pleasantly surprised. A lot of big names here. A lot of coaches had some pretty interesting things to say, and I think it's going to be a fun season. I can't wait for day number 2.
It was fun to listen to on the radio, and thank you so much. If Cisco is the cameraman right now, the cinematographer, he has taken us on a full ride all around Jerry World. Thank you, Cisco. I appreciate it. It looks great. Showed us the trophy, showed us where everything's set up. It looks great down there. And, I mean, you could hear it and you could feel it yesterday, Curtis, on the radio. Kale and Mark were having so much fun, whether it was the mascots or whether it was coaches coming through. Sonny Dykes is just, I mean, there's an interview with him, a podcast on our website. You got to go and check out some Sonny Dykes. He has me so fired up and thinking, hell, they're going to win it again. I don't care they lost their quarterback, their receiver, and their running back. He does not care. He loves his team this year, but, I mean, all coaches do. And I can't wait to hear Dana Holgerson. I did not hear that interview, but I'm going to go and listen to that. And
it's all available on the podcast. If you go to the podcasting section of our app or our website, you can get all of those interviews.
The commissioner was fantastic. You knew he was going to talk about a bunch of things. And Mike Gundy, you knew he was going to be asked about Bedlam. And he answered. He told you exactly what you thought you were going to hear. So it's good. And you got to see this yesterday, Curtis, and I only heard about it. I didn't get to see it. Jalen Daniels, Kansas's quarterback, who was picked to be the Big 12's quarterback of the year, he had a necklace on, I'm told, that had a video on it just playing his highlights. Did you get a chance to check that out?
Yes, and we have audio of him talking about that.
It's insane.
But listen, if you're good enough to have that kind of highlight package about you, then you know what? Wear it.
It's a necklace that, Phil, would you say, to me, it looked like an Apple Watch.
Yeah, it looked like he took an Apple Watch and made a necklace out of it.
Yep.
And let me see. Let me grab that. And let's see.
He sounds like a cool cat, man.
He's awesome, too, at football.
Yes, he is.
We got a nice little Cuban link chain right here, man. We got the piece playing the highlights because, honestly, wasn't for me making a few of these plays on here, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So, just a reminder, everyone I'm walking around, this is what I do. I like to play football, I like to play quarterback, I like to score touchdowns.
He walks around with a mini television around his neck.
A reminder, this is what I do.
Do you have I think we have the Holgerson clip talking about burnout. Like it was interesting. He's talking to Mark and Kale and he wanted to not talk football. And these guys get so burned out answering the same questions. And it was cool that, he knew Kale, so they could just talk friendship stuff and then just shoot the breeze on stories from the past. And here he was yesterday. He was kind of, they're just, throwing some things around, and he talks about burnout and trying to get some vacation in. And, because there was a lot of talk about transfer portal and how coaches are on like 365 now. You can barely take a vacation. And he got kind of serious about his good buddy, Mike Leach, who was one of his best friends in the world.
Phil is just joining the broadcast online. If you'd like to see looks like a vagrant just walked into the room.
Phil, you gonna play that audio?
I'll play the audio while people can look at my ugly mug on social media.
Well, most people ask, like, can you really turn it off like that? Oh, absolutely, I can.
No doubt.
Yes, absolutely, I can. I learned that from Mike Leach. He's like, look, for these 4 weeks in summer, don't call me, and I don't want to call you. We're out of here. And I think that's important, especially now, because burnout is real. Like, I would argue that's what got Leacher.
Yeah,
it's burnout.
No doubt.
I mean, it's real. And so I'm trying not to get burned out. I don't want to be coaching when I'm 65 years old. But I don't really want to get burned out right now in the first year in the Big 12. So get away.
And then he went on to say, get away from football. Football's not fun. Like, he got really serious. He goes, football's not fun right now. And he's kind of kidding, but he was serious. And yeah, you can see where those guys get burned out. The fact that he said that's what got Leacher, I thought, oh man, like that. He was real serious about
Curtis, we've talked about it. All of somebody jokes about Bob Stoops rejoining the coaching ranks, and old school coaches. Like, if Pat Jones, somebody would have brought up NIL, and transfer portals and things like that, I mean, his head would have exploded. It's just like anybody who's been doing it a certain way, and so many different things have been thrown at them. Just in a really short period of time. All this stuff has happened in a really short period of time. It just changed your world. It just changed your world. I mean, it has become a 365-day a year. I got to make sure all my kids are happy type of thing, and babysitting even more than ever. So, I mean, to coaches who used to coach in a world where none of this existed, I mean, the stress level has got to just be, quadruple what it used to be.
And we were kind of talking about that at dinner last night, and Cale was talking about how, the Mike will be, at the lake, and he's having to come back to Stillwater because there's things happening. There's always, you can't just get away because kids can transfer at any moment, or they can say they're going to transfer. I know they put in some windows for the portal, but it's a 365 job.
It's a grind. It's always been a grind. Just recruiting has always been a grind, and just keeping your kids happy. But when the threat of you had to sit out a year, if you want to go somewhere else, if you got butt hurt over something, that doesn't exist anymore. It's like, you have to make me happy. And if I'm not happy, I'm leaving, damn it. And look at a bunch of quarterbacks in the league this year. You have Keaton Slovis. This is his third school. You have Emory Jones for Cincinnati. This is his third school. Alan Bowman. This is his third school. So it's a different world.
Holgerson, they got the kid from Texas Tech, Donovan Smith, transferred in. A guy, and that's a veteran who's been in the league. He wanted to have some Big 12 experience. Holgerson did on in his quarterback room. Like, you're right. A lot of guys aren't where they began right now.
First Take, sponsored by McBride Orthopedic Hospital Clinic, Oklahoma's most trusted choice in orthopedic care. We are live from Arlington, Texas, Big 12 Media Days, sponsored by Bud Light, Fire Lake Casino, and Grand Casino. We'll have more coming up in just a bit. Again, live from Arlington. And you can stream us right now, all of our platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook.
You can get teabagged right now.
Yeah, teabags on the screen along with Curtis and myself.
Well, so we had to put clothes on for this deal because before 7 o'clock, it was.
I didn't know I was going to be on TV today. Otherwise, I would have done my makeup and hair.
You look good, babe.
Thank you. We are the Morning Animals. This is 98.1 FM, WWLS, the Sports Animal.
Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line. Friday, July 21st, Grand Casino Hotel and Resort. Tyler Hubbard. Live. Tickets on sale now at grandboxoffice.com. Don't miss Tyler Hubbard live.
Let's brew some beer.
We grow the barley that makes your beer.
I grow the rice.
I grow the hops.
I make the steam. No steam, no beer.
We make the cans. I bottle the beer. I label the beer. I'll pack the beer. I deliver the beer.
I drop off the beer.
I serve the beer.
fans, the coaches, the student athletes, all the key stakeholders.
Playing the wrong
Yormark clip.
Moment. We formally introduce 4 new members to the conference. We celebrate our continuing 8, and we also celebrate Oklahoma and Texas for everything they've done since day one. But there's a lot of news that are going to come out of this conference today. Stay tuned.
We are the Morning Animals, live from Big 12 Media Days, Arlington, Texas. Sponsored by Grand Casino, Fire Lake Casino, and the good folks at Bud Light.
I mean, that could probably take care of our Yormark stuff, but he was Brett Yormark is a fascinating dude, man. He doesn't shy away from controversial topics, but he's very good at avoiding saying anything. So, he's one of those kinds of guys. Like yesterday, he wouldn't give us anything about expansion, but he did say we have a plan. We have some things in the works, but he wouldn't budge on anything, which makes me think, because last year he was a little more outgoing about that.
Sure. He said we're coming for you, basically.
Maybe because he was a little more reserved, maybe there's something in the works, and he did not want to give any leeway as to what was on the horizon.
Listen, something has got to come soon, because if the Pac-12 goes to Pac-12 media days without a media deal, then, it's like that flame has just turned up even more. So there's got to be some teams out there just thinking we're going to have to go somewhere else. And the Big 12's got this deal in place. We're good if we go there. So it's definitely fascinating. And so I heard a story, somebody talking, Curtis, about an Iowa State reporter asked Brett Yormark, and just, I think, caught him off guard, obviously, and said, how is the Big 12 going to help celebrate the 100th anniversary of Jack Trice Stadium?
Yep.
And evidently, nobody talked to the commissioner about that. And he was like, I'm going to have to get with somebody about it. He absolutely just was calm. He was cool.
Yeah.
He didn't melt down. He didn't lose it. But he was like, I meant to talk to somebody about that.
No, he was
obviously,
great.
He had no idea. He was like, I got nothing.
Well, in Jack Trice, was he the first African-American? Oh, I'm trying. What was his significance? He's an African-American legend at Iowa State. The stadium's named after him, but what was the significance? In fact, I'm forgetting. His Game Day did a story on him and his significance for Iowa State football. But
first African-American athlete for Iowa State College.
Oh, for the whole school. Okay, that makes sense.
I believe he was killed, too, on the football field.
Is that right? Like got hit in the wrong place?
It was back in the days when there were a lot of deaths in college football.
They didn't take out guns on the field like the Saturday Night Live skit.
It was just, injury.
I'm not saying that they were just such a vicious sport that people died all the time.
He was a son of a former Buffalo soldier. So he's got a hell of a story to him.
But I think the point you're making, I was impressed with that too, because Yormark said, you know what? It's a great story. He knew Jack Trice, but he didn't know that it was the 100th year. And he said, I'm going to get with my people and we're going to do something about that, basically. And
he should have just answered that by going, pew, 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 entertainment.
Right. He, listen, his collarbone was broken in a game on a play, but he stayed in the game, and ultimately led to some bleeding in his lungs. And so he died playing football.
Kerry, you were not off base.
Died from a broken collarbone.
But he stayed on there and he kept playing, and it turned into more.
I honestly thought that was Kerry just being murderous Kerry and just,
Well, the one time
I know stuff. I'm not a moron.
And he can go pew, 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 too. I like that, too.
But he also,
that should have been like after every other Brett Yormark, comment. Just that.
What was fascinating about it, and we have some more.
He's there to bleep stuff up, not pay tribute things.
Like they asked him. somebody asked him about it was something football related, right? It was I can't remember the exact specific question, and he basically said, and this is what I love about him, he said, you know what, my football guy is so and so, and he's right here. I'll defer all those questions to him.
Right.
Basically saying, I'm not here for football. I'm here for entertainment, B.
I'm here to steal teams and make money.
I make deals. It's what I do. He talked about.
We said this yesterday. He's running an entertainment company. He's not here for the sports.
Right.
Phil, you should love Brett Yormark.
I do like him. Who's the big act that they were talking about?
Well, that was the thing, Phil. Yeah. So his big reveal was, hey, Big 12 championship game is going to be in Arlington at Jerry World here until through 2030. So that was, they signed that agreement, and he said tickets for this year's game will go on sale August 12th or something like that. And at that time, we're going to reveal a big halftime show, and it will be carried live on ABC. Like they've already negotiated that. And we're not going to tell you who it is now, but we will then, and it'll be a big name. And when he says that, you believe him because he knows everybody in the entertainment industry. Yeah. So he's not just bluffing. So it's got to be a decent sized name. I know people were clowning, throwing out some horrible names, but like Little River Band was one that people were joking about, which was funny.
What's wrong with that?
By the way, they're a fine band, but just doesn't get the blood stirring.
Right. He's a little more.
Who does fishing in the dark? Who does fishing in the dark?
I mean, the guy is on speed dialing terms with Jay-Z. He's got people he knows, Kerry. So yeah, I would expect it to be a decent act.
I just hope it's an act that most people in this part of the country that are football fans have never heard of before.
Well, yeah, he's not here to
Brett
please.
Yormark will think this would be a massive deal in New York, and
right?
It would be a confusing deal in Texas.
He is not here to please the crowd in the stadium. He's here to please the crowd on TV. He wants people that don't care about, let's say it's OU and Baylor. He doesn't care about that fan base. He cares about the fan in New York that might be watching to watch, for entertainment purposes. But no,
Which is why it will be Nickelback.
That's exactly right.
No, he doesn't have Nickelback on speed dial.
Well, everybody kept posting the Scott Stapp performance at the Cowboys game on Thanksgiving.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Scott
at this same stadium. No, but he had like bullet points. Our friend George Schroeder, who by the way is going to be here today. He's out of the industry, but he's really good friends with Gus Malzahn. So George is coming up. He was texting with me yesterday, and he's bringing his son up, who is a student at Baylor, and they're going to come hang out here. And he was texting me. He said, "Why is Brett Yormark, but the guy who's all about cool and hip, holding pieces of paper during his speech? Could somebody get him a teleprompter or an iPad? But somewhere the technology link broke, and he's sitting there holding his speech and he kept like turning papers, and it was very uncomfortable. It was very off-brand for Brett Yormark. It was almost a Bob Bowlesby looking setup.
Can we get? By the way, while I'm thinking about it, can we get Mike Gundy like a just for men deal for his beard?
You are not
silver beard with the
what's wrong?
Non-gray hair is freaking me out.
You are not the only prominent media member to point that out, and I will not say the name of the person who had a long discussion with me about this. I will only, and I won't say his name. I will only say he's loved by the Mormons. But we had the same exact discussion yesterday.
Durant turned out to be the douchebag.
Again, I'm not going to say who this person was, but the Mormons love this person. And he had the exact same thought about Mike Gundy's attire and his
I didn't see it.
We'll get into the Mormon love with that guy whose name shall not be mentioned.
Durant turned out to be the douchebag.
When I say there was one man who ran the show here yesterday, and it was like, BYU saw their savior yesterday.
The elder statesman of Big 12 media. He is the elder statesman. Well, he and Bob Bowlesby. Not Bob Bowlesby.
Kirk Bowles.
Kirk Bowles, yeah.
Kirk Bowles was here.
Which, by the way, Kerry, I told Curtis earlier, I liked his I liked his deal with Mike Gundy.
Got a rip.
Pretty fun together. It was like Martin and Lewis up there.
We are the Morning Animals.
He said he was 100 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are streaming live on all platforms.
And Phil, you look good. You look like a wizard.
Yeah,
if they do any more Lord of the Rings, you need to be involved.
For some reason, they've got me and Curtis on the video stream right now.
Oh, I got to pull this up.
Oh, and I can see I look
can
like
we
a wizard.
Carrie,
I didn't realize how long this hair was.
We can see your comments too.
Carrie, are you video ready? If we get you on, we can get you on this stream.
No, that's part of the reason I'm not there is because I'm trying to get us back to video ready after the carpet was installed.
Yeah, if you choose to comment, they pop up on the screen. We can see them.
We can
Somebody
see
just
them.
thought Phil was Santa.
Dirty Santa.
Well, I got to do something during the off months. I mean, come on. December's the only time I'm busy. We are the Morning Animals. We are live from Big 12 Media Days, sponsored by Bud Light. Oh, I thought I was hearing something. Sponsored by...
You were hearing yourself. I'm sorry. That hair is so long. When did it get that
I'm
long?
going to braid it for him during the commercial break, so stick around.
Sponsored by Bud
Holy
Light.
crap.
Fire Lake Casino and
holy crap.
and Grand Casino.
You need Head and Shoulders deal, man.
You really are Troy Polamalu, but white.
On 98.1 FM WWLS
God.
Sports Animal.
Usman Jang had some step back threes, which were fantastic. He looked really good yesterday, and he's played well in this summer league after a little bit of a slow start. He had 22 points last night, and the Thunder went over the Pacers in Vegas, 98-87. Chet Holmgren had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 blocks. That was his best game in his return. Thunder have one more game Friday night, and Spinozzi, I have been told, is going to be there. Day 2 of Big 12 Media Days. We are here in Arlington. Much more on yesterday's activity coming up next. We are the Morning Animals.
The Morning Animals.
Kirk Bowles from the Austin American-Statesman. Mike, do you think Texas is and deserves to be the clear favorite in this league? And anybody else who impresses you on paper?
Oh, I mean, are you basing that? I mean, it depends what we're basing that on, right? We basing that on history. We basing that on the last 5 years. We basing that on the last 50 years. So I'm not sure how anybody comes up with who's a favorite right now. I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I think one of the fun things about the Big 12 is we don't really know who's going to win based on what's happened in the last few years. So however many years ago that Baylor won, I think they won one game the year before. I might be wrong. My math's not real good at times. And then last year, TCU went all the way to the finals, and I don't think anybody picked TCU to go very far. So I said I wasn't going to bring it up, but the portal has contributed to a lot of instability in roster management that's more difficult now than ever. And it's created teams to play not as good as what people thought they should, or play much better than they thought they should based on an influx of a certain number of players that can play key positions. Like at Oklahoma State, we had 28 new players in spring ball, and I'm fairly certain we'll have 37 new guys in August. You've covered college football for 100 years. That's a lot. So it can change a team. And with all respect, with 100 years, you and I have been here this many years.
You're in the ballpark.
Yes, sir.
We are the Morning Animals, live from Big 12 Media Days, sponsored by Bud Light, Grand Casino.
Someone tell me what the pudding cups are.
And Fire Lake Casino.
I was going to ask, do you guys like him? I mean, you've obviously had more interactions with him over the years than
Super
anybody
nice
else
guy.
I know. But he sounds like he'd be a hell of a nice guy.
Unbelievable.
Super nice guy. Asks a lot of, he has a purpose. I mean, like, he's the guy that always asks kind of OU Texas-y type questions, wherever he goes.
Big picture.
And I know that
type
was Mike
stuff.
Gundy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Kirk Bowles. He's kind of the older version of Barry Trammell in Austin. Like he's there. He's like the legendary. I mean, he's older than Barry, and he's been around longer, and he's like the legend
it made
of
me
Austin.
laugh.
But hey, super nice guy, and it's one of those guys where when he's in the
He's a
room,
legend.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah.
You respect him, and no, I like him. I like him a lot. But hey, there was one man who ran the show yesterday, and it was not Brett Yormark. It wasn't Mike Gundy. It wasn't Steve Sarkisian, Sonny Dykes. It was Barry Trammell, because and when I say the BYU people rolled out, they rolled out. They brought more cheerleaders. Seems like they had more mascots, even though they only have one. They were all over the place. They had some of their players in uniform throwing passes as they were taking pictures. They had They had big media team following them around, and I thought, you just need to show up in a polo shirt and do media stuff. But they made those guys put on their uniform to take photos and videos of them on the field, like throwing footballs. It was
I'm
kind of
glad
odd.
we're not in a conference with Northwestern, because you can only imagine what they'd have their athletes doing.
True, but no, Barry. So Barry Trammell, I'm talking to Barry just throughout the day, right? And there's one moment where I'm just sitting here shooting the breeze, and we're talking about just random stuff, Thunder or newspapers and OU, OSU. And it was like the Holy Grail himself. Like he showed up, and every 5 seconds, a new member of the BYU media showed, "Hey, Barry, it's so-and-so. I just want to introduce myself. I've known about you forever." And I was like, "Barry, what is this with these really nice people, by the way, coming up to you time and time again?" He goes, "Oh, the Mormons love me." He goes, they've loved me since, and he pointed out an article from like 1994 or something that he wrote about BYU, very positive and glowing. And he said, ever since then, they have loved me. And when he went to Provo to do his feature on BYU, like he did a feature on all the new schools, he said they rolled out the red carpet for him everywhere he went. So it was like the Joseph Smith of BYU football was very.
Was there a year, guys, and you'll remember this, that OU fans hated BYU because they were given a national championship that OU thought they deserved?
So 1984, BYU won the national championship. OU going into their bowl game was trying to make a claim, and then they got killed.
But
by
they lost
Washington.
their bowl game.
Oh, okay, all right. I just remember there being a bit of an argument about that. I didn't know that OU just got their head handed to them.
That was basically the modern day version of OU Twitter.
Yeah, and
the old version.
They famously named a sewer in Utah after Barry Switzer.
Did Barry have things to say back in the day?
Oh yeah. So it was that was
nice.
So there is a bit of history with
Okay,
OU.
I thought there was. I thought there was, but I just wasn't sure.
And then the very first, we were talking about this yesterday too. The very first Spinozzi trivia question for you here. Very first college football game ever played on the field that I am sitting on right now was OU BYU.
Wow.
And the game Sam Bradford got hurt.
2009.
2009. It was right here. And BYU won that game. And OU went in again with all the national championship aspirations. And it kind of crumbled right there on this field. And so, yeah, there is history. And then OU BYU carry the Copper Bowl game in 90. Right. It was 94. Right, and Howard Schnellenberger had already been hired, was sitting in the press box. He was in the
press box watching the game.
Yeah, and BYU killed OU in that game too. So
OU they'd had to play like a third-string quarterback
Terrence
or a
Brown.
guy that wasn't even a full-time quarterback in
Terrence
that game.
Brown, yep, he was the quarterback, and that was a game that Jim Traber says he wished with all of his might he had flown to Vegas and bet everything he had because he It was one of those deals. OU didn't want to be there, kind of bowl game, Spinozzi, and you could see it coming. So yeah, OU's had a history with BYU, and it's not been a great one.
Interesting. I like that.
So
none of that came up yesterday in any of the interviews or anything like that.
I'm telling you, the nicest.
Y'all still mad at us?
They are. No, I don't think they can be mad. It's impossible for that group of people to be mad. They were so. Every media member is like, "Hey, I'd love to have you on our show," or hey, if you ever want to talk BYU football, just give us a call. I'm like, all right, cool.
Do they have podcasts in Utah?
They have I'm telling you, they have more media than everything, Kerry. They have
a lot of rules against things there.
And it was, I am not lying about this. And I was kind of checking with other people who had been around for a while. And I've been to a lot of these media days. Most of them, I think, it was the biggest attendance we've ever seen at Big 12 Media Days. It was packed in here. Radio Row jamming.
We are live from Big 12 Media Days in Arlington, Texas. Thank you to our great sponsors, Bud Light, Grand Casino, Fire Lake Casino, on 98.1 FM WWLS, the sports animal.
Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line. Friday, July 21st, Grand Casino Hotel and Resort. Tyler Hubbard. Live. Tickets on sale now at grandboxoffice.com. Don't miss Tyler Hubbard live.
kind of already been alluded to that the Bedlam game is going to be laid to rest, obviously, because of the happenings. But would you entertain the idea from your perspective and Oklahoma State to play them as a non-conference game?
No, we have 9 conference games scheduled, and then we have, I think, through, 15 years, we're scheduled all the way up, and we're full for the most part, and we have Power 5 teams. And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Oklahoma State's not going to change what we do because Oklahoma chose to go to the SEC. They need to change what they do because they're the ones that made their mind up to go to the SEC. So with all the talk from administration and people saying that Oklahoma State needs to do this and that, All Oklahoma had to do was not go to the SEC. So it is what it is. We can cut right to the choice. So for me, I want to listen to the board. I'll listen to the president. I'll listen to the AD. If that's something they want to do, I'm good, but I don't think it's going to happen based on the way the scheduling is. And everybody needs to realize it didn't have to happen if they didn't change leagues.
Yes, Coach, quick question. It's kind of already been alluded to.
Don't know why that's playing twice, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
Turn that guy's mic off.
We are the Morning Animals. Live from Big 12 Media Days, sponsored by Bud Light, Fire Lake Casino and Grand Casino on 98.1 FM, WWLS, the Sports Animal.
So there you heard it. All OU has to do is just renounce their contract with the SEC, and it will continue.
Yeah, it was obvious what Mike was going to say in response to that because he said it last year. He said it throughout the year. He's not wavered. He's not for Bedlam getting back together. He's very clear about it's OU and Texas's fault, or with Bedlam, it's OU's fault. So that was not too surprising, but you had to ask the question and you got the answer you knew you were going to get.
You know what's funny?
What's funny?
No one called Mike Gundy out for being a liar yesterday.
A liar in what way?
I looked up OU or Oklahoma State future football schedules.
Mm-hmm.
He said they're booked till 2037.
15 years, I believe.
Yeah, that's not true at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to say they've booked one good opponent through 2037, yes. But I don't know if Colorado, Nebraska, Tulsa qualify as – and here's the thing. It's like when Brett Yormark finally gets around to understanding how football works, he's probably going to say, you know what, Oklahoma State, we're kind of tired of you playing South Dakota State and Central Arkansas and South Alabama. Like, that doesn't help our conference. That doesn't help our TV package. So maybe you should replace some of those opponents with better.
Well, you're not going to replace Colorado and Nebraska. Those are Power 5 teams.
I said South Dakota State.
Right. But you said
Murray
Colorado,
State.
Nebraska, too.
UT Martin, Central Arkansas, Curtis, listen.
I heard you say Colorado, Nebraska. I'm listening now, yes.
Kerry, can I ask you a question?
No.
Yeah.
Please do, but tread lightly.
Let's do this.
Now, why should OSU have to play Arkansas and OU in the same season, Oregon and OU in the same season, Alabama and OU in the same season, Nebraska and OU in the same season, and Colorado and OU in the same season?
Oh my God, are you what kind of a ragtag bunch are you putting together in Stillwater that they can't afford to play Nebraska and Oklahoma in the same season? My God.
Why would you want to spend two non-conference games whenever those are supposed to be easy,
Who are they playing in the Big 12 those years? And are they
I don't know. The schedule's not out.
What's their schedule power going to be?
I'm just saying, why should OSU have to do that whenever OU left? I'm not saying blame OU, but I'm just saying, why does OSU have to go out of their way to play Alabama and OU in the same season? And Arkansas and OU in the same season. Oregon and OU in the same season.
My God, they're playing in the Big 12, not the SEC.
Okay, you still would rather play Murray. I mean, as a coach, trying to develop your guys.
You would rather play Murray State? Nobody
as a fan,
wants that. That's
not
terrible
as a fan,
for college football.
Not as a fan. But why does OSU have an obligation to play OU? Where's the obligation?
Because everybody wants that, and it's fun. I'm sorry you hate fun,
of course we all want it, but there's no I'm just saying I don't think any OSU fan wants to see, OSU play set in 2028, Oklahoma at Tulsa and Alabama in their non-conference.
It's Division I football. How about 2030 when their only schedule
2030
is
is open.
Tulsa?
You're right.
Well, then Mike Gundy's a liar.
All right, Kerry, I'll interject here and say
that was beautiful.
We
That was
know,
a beautiful moment.
It was a good
Go
fight.
play intramurals.
Okay. We know all coaches, first of all, are liars, so that's nothing new. No,
he also lied to his own brother yesterday and said, I don't do radio. And he did radio with other radio stations.
He
lied to his own brother.
I saw
that was the upset of the day.
Right.
Show up
I saw
talk to
Mike.
his
I
brother.
saw Mike enter the stadium and run straight to a local Stillwater
Right.
radio station.
Yeah, told his brother.
Because they wouldn't question him being booked until 2037, like we probably would have.
No, listen, my whole deal is just figure it out. Mike Gundy, OSU, OU, just play. I don't care.
Hey, look,
if you have
I'm not
Nebraska
trying
on
to
the
rip
schedule.
on Mike Gundy or OSU. I mean, OU did leave the conference. They did.
Right.
But let's stop all this stupid stuff where we're trying.
Got to wrap.
It's just, God. I mean, hey, we all sat and laughed at Texas and Texas A&M when they split, and we mostly laughed at Texas A&M because they were the ones that seemed to be the most butthurt. Right now, Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy seem to be the ones that are most butthurt about this.
It seems like OU was butthurt whenever they didn't play Nebraska for 10 years.
Huh?
Did OU play Nebraska? That was a big rival. When Nebraska left,
let's wrap.
Why didn't OU play them in the non-conference every year?
Because they played on Thanksgiving.
Bedlam's on Thanksgiving. What does that? What does the day of the game have to do with it?
Nebraska was terrible though when they left. I mean, nobody was crying over losing that rivalry.
Time out. All right, we're going to stop this.
We have to.
We have no winner in this argument.
No.
We
I saw
have
superstars mulling around you, Curtis, on camera. I can see them.
We have, there's a meeting of the cheerleaders and mascots. I don't know if it's like their annual convention, but they are all gathering for a photo. In fact,
Let's get that on camera, please.
It's the first time, I think Cisco's working on it. It's the first time since 2019 this has happened because COVID shut down mascots apparently gathering and cheerleaders. I don't know why, but it did. And then we got to say we're going to break. But coming back, we're going to talk more Mike Gundy because our very dear friend Bill Haisten is here, and he got some great quotes from Mike Gundy that nobody else got, and I want to talk to him about that.
That's coming up next as we broadcast live from Big 12 Media Days in Arlington, Texas, sponsored by Bud Light, Fire Lake Casino, and Grand Casino.
Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line. Friday, July 21st, Grand Casino Hotel and Resort. Tyler Hubbard. Live. Tickets on sale now at grandboxoffice.com. Don't miss Tyler Hubbard live.
Let's brew some beer.
We grow the barley that makes your beer.
I grow the rice.
I grow the hops. I make the steam. No steam, no beer.
We make the cans. I bottle the beer. I label the beer. I pack the beer. I deliver the beer. I drop off the beer.
I serve the beer.
Chad Holmgren had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 blocked shots. His best game in the Summer League, but I think by far. And the Thunder beat the Pacers yesterday, 98-87. Usman Jang was fantastic yesterday as well, 22 points. He was 9 of 11 from the field. Haisten Wallace, the Thunder first-round pick, 4 points, didn't do a whole lot, 5 assists. He did have that. It was decent. But the Thunder won. They'll play again Friday night against Washington to wrap up the Vegas Summer League. Day 2 of Big 12 Media Days. OU will be the featured team for sure. We'll talk more about what Mike Gundy had to say with our friend Bill Haisten coming up next. We are the Morning Animals.
Broadcasting sponsored by Parish Devon Injury Lawyer. Visit pepperwinds.com. This is WWLS-FM, The Village, Oklahoma City, your home of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the sports animal, a Cumulus station.
Welcome to your Thursday, July 13th. We are the Morning Animals and Zinga Spinozzi, Curtis Fitzpatrick, and Kerry Murdoch. Partly cloudy today. Rain chances went down. So there's like only a 10% chance now of rain today, Spinozzi. Your roller skating is back on. 97 for the high.
Very excited about that.
Partly cloudy and 95 tomorrow, and then Saturday, partly cloudy and 89. Currently 76 at the studios of 98.1 FM WWLS, the Sports Animals. We broadcast live from Big 12 Media Days, sponsored by Bud Light, Fire Lake Casino, and Grand Casino. And I do believe our special guest is ready to go. A guy we haven't talked to in quite some time, and I'm excited to talk to him. Mr. Bill Haisten joins us. Good morning, Bill.
Bill, you look great.
Thank you. It's about time somebody noticed.
That
how
is
good I
not
look.
what he said off the air.
Well,
be honest, Bill. It's okay. My feelings can't be hurt. I've had them removed.
I said, because I heard Kerry remark about your hair length, and so I rolled it over to YouTube to take a look. And then my first thought was, that's exactly what Tom Hanks looked like right before they finally found him on the raft.
He wasn't as
he was a bit thinner.
Yeah.
A bit thinner, but other than that, yeah.
No, you look great.
No,
Ron,
I'm looking at
Ron and Phil. I miss you guys so much. Kerry, is Kerry still here?
Kerry's
You don't
still
miss
I'm
him?
here.
You don't miss him?
Well, I can't see Kerry.
Right.
That's a good thing.
Well, Bill, hey, it's really good to see Bill. The last time I saw you was the spring game at OU.
Right.
We used to have you on all the time, and you've gone through some health stuff.
2 years ago today is when I got nuked.
I remember it was the day of the big revelation that OU was leaving the Big 12, right?
2 years ago today, I had a chaplain praying over me, so I'm pretty happy to be here.
Well,
I gotta say.
Yeah, I think so.
We don't have to get into all the stuff, but it's just great seeing you, man.
No, it's great. I'm fired up.
And you're back, man. You were better than ever, because we were talking yesterday. This is before Mike Gundy. I think before he even went to the podium, you were talking about some great quotes you got from Mike Gundy, and I thought, wait a minute, was this on the record? And you have a long relationship, long-standing history with Mike, and he's given you some great stuff over the years. You've had your ups and downs, but you've had a pretty strong relationship. But I mean, what was your overall, before we get into some of the specifics, but your overall impression of what Mike had to say yesterday?
Well, let's see. I guess I should lead with the lead, and that's that. We weren't talking, Curtis, about how much longer you're going to go. That didn't come up. He just offered casually and out of the blue, I'm going to coach 10 more years, and I'm out. I'm done at 65. And I said, you're going to coach at Oklahoma State 10 more seasons? And he said, yes. And so I didn't really delve into it too deeply, because I didn't want him to reconsider and say, nah, let's not go with that for now.
Right.
So I'm like, well, what do you think about this hot weather or whatever after that? But it was on. It was recorded and on the record, and I thought, well, that's really interesting, and I wonder why. He must have a reason for wanting to go public with some sort of plan to go 10 more seasons, because there was a great interview he gave me 8 years ago, and he said, there's no way in hell I'm going to coach at 60. I'm done before I get to 60. And I said, Mike, you don't understand how fast time flies. And before you know it, you're going to be 60 and you're going to think, I'm not ready to retire. And here he is saying now at 55, he'll be 56 in August.
Yeah, his
right?
19th season, Bill. And
Yeah,
so
19 season. Hey,
Yeah.
check this out, Ron. You're a stat man. So when they play at West Virginia midseason this year, it'll be his 400th Oklahoma State football game.
Damn.
Wow.
As a
That's
player,
just-
an assistant, a coordinator, a head coach. 400 OSU football games.
Well, you've known him for a
Unbelievable.
long time, and obviously your relationship is good enough that he'll just talk to you and drop things like that. You've seen him. I mean, he has been a roller coaster of emotions over the years. I mean, Phil and I've only been over here for 10 years doing this, but
that all?
You've seen it. Yeah, that's all. Well, about as long as Mike's going to coach some more. It's 10 years, a long time, but you've seen him in a lot of different places. I mean, and happy, sad, irritable, all those kinds of things. Where would you rate him right now? I mean, just as in a place, because with NIL and the transfer portal, all those kinds of things, where would you rate him right now as far as just a comfort factor and what kind of a guy he is just right now?
But I just think Mike's been a little more, whether it's transparent or he has an inability to mask his disdain for all of that. He didn't like it. No, but I don't think any of these coaches really like it because it plays hell on their roster management and it really played hell on OSU's roster this off season. But with regard to what I expected yesterday versus what he was yesterday, yeah, he was far more energetic. I thought he did a great job. With all the rounds he made, I wasn't aware of that he didn't do the animal.
He didn't do the round here, but that's
Wow.
normal. That's standard policy.
You know what though? But when I saw Kale, I'm sure I had a split second thought of, oh yeah, Mike and Kale will sit and talk. That'll be great radio. And so wow.
His brother has no pull. We've learned that.
His brother's pretty good on the radio.
He is really good. I
Yeah.
had dinner with him last night.
He said something about A&M last week about it was both funny and poignant. It was great. So, but no, where's Mike now? He has always said that he likes to feel cornered. He likes to feel challenged and underestimated. And certainly they're picked 7th in the conference, right? And I'm really, more than any year I can remember, kind of expecting them to come in under 500. I really do.
Wow.
Well, I mean, Curtis.
No, I'm not debating that.
You're pinning a lot of heavy hopes on a quarterback who hasn't played in 3 years, an injury-prone quarterback who hasn't gotten real meaningful reps in 3 years. So, if you tell me Alan Bowman stays healthy, and then sure they have a chance to be pretty decent. But I don't know. I just don't know what to expect, and I don't know that Mike. Well, obviously Mike's there every day, Ron. But I mean, crap. I mean, I don't know how you can have a good feel. It's like the same old thing I've been talking with you guys about for 9 years. I mean, if they can block somebody, they'll be pretty good.
Yeah,
they will. But they haven't been able to block very well for years and years and years. And so,
well, Bill, to
we'll
me,
see.
it's I look at it from the lens of covering a guy that coached somewhere for 18 years, and Mike Gundy is now up there, and to talk about 10 more years after having a day yesterday where they talked, his entire team talked about 37 new players on a roster. It's like,
wow,
it's kind of presumptive. I mean, because when you've been at a place, I mean, look at Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, look at Bob Stoops at Oklahoma. It's like there's like a malaise over the fan base when you have a coach that's been there and everything's been the same for a long time. Like, I don't think college football is built for this. I think college football is built for a coach to come in and coach for 3, 4, 5 years. And if he's successful, he can stay. But if not, you turn it over and you get excited about somebody new coming in, and it helps recruiting. But like, that's the hardest thing too, is when you've been in a place for so long, you do kind of, I mean, it just shows, the recruiting shows that, you're not young and fired up and clicking on all cylinders. You're kind of settled in. And I think that's where Mike is. That's the hardest thing for me, just watching these coaches that have been around as long as Mike has, is just keeping that energy going in the program.
Kerry, I've been asking myself, or I've been asking that and thinking about that for a while, but it's how does a guy who's 55 years old, who's made, and this, we're talking about Mike, so this is specific Mike I'm directing this at Mike, but how does a guy who's 55 years old, who's made about $60 million, who's been at the same school now for what is this season 32 lifetime? How do you sustain a competitive fire? How do you do that? I mean, obviously you're a competitive guy, right? It's hard. Maybe you're a competitive guy, or you wouldn't have gotten into this to begin with, right? And you've got to be egomaniacal and driven as hell. And so Mike is all that, and so am I, and so is Curtis, and all of us. I mean, we're all egomaniacal. We all want to be as good as we can be. But
Curtis by far the biggest ego.
I knew you were going to say something, Phil.
So I don't know. I mean, but Mike it may be the very beginning of his fourth quarter, because his lifetime and his career is going to be so much more lengthy. Well, here's another stat I find fascinating is now when this season kicks off, he will have coached the Oklahoma State Cowboys longer than Bud, Barry, or Bob coached the Sooners. Right.
Wow.
So only Benny Owen has coached anybody longer than Mike Gundy. And if Mike does roll to another 10 years, Curtis, he will have passed Benny Owen. So, but except for the gray and the whiskers, I mean, Mike still looks youthful, flat belly, looks good. So we'll see. I mean,
yeah, he's in great shape. I mean, he beats every other coach walking around here, except for Venables.
You can talk to him, Bill, more than anyone else about the whole beard hair thing.
The beard thing?
I don't have a problem with it. I don't see why you guys do.
It's just weird looking.
Some people uttered some thoughts to me yesterday, like, "Hey, he needs to accept his age." That's all. It wasn't me offering that up, but
you mean the hair's too dark for the beard being silver?
The hair just similar? Needs to go gray. Just let it be gray.
It's in that realm.
Fellas, that's facial hair and other hair is the first to go gray before the stuff on your head.
No, mine's the complete opposite. Stuff on my mouth is still dark. But listen, I'm talking about all the coaching for a long time. Dana Holgerson had some really introspective things to say yesterday about that, Bill. I mean, he really did about, burnout and talking about Mike Leach and things like that. So,
basically burnout killed Mike Leach.
When I talked to Dana on the turf, he said straight up. Now he said on the clip you guys had, he said, I think it might have gotten Coach Leach or whatever he said.
He
told me straight up it killed Mike Leach, and I'm like, wow.
Well, you got some great stuff on the record that we didn't get. Like he used that word. I want to ask you about another thing.
Maybe the coaches were less inhibited at a Sony a $10 Sony audio recorder instead of a headset. So I don't know.
Well, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
And Bill wrote about a lot of this stuff with Mike Gundy in the Tulsa World. You can check it out online. Get the Tulsa World today. But I thought interesting question you asked him about Deion Sanders.
Right. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying the question it turned out to be a good question. It was a throwaway. I just said, hey, Mike, like now when you're crossing paths with other schools on the recruiting trail, or Deion's fingerprints like everywhere right now, or what's his impact been? And Mike said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me, but I thought it was really interesting. He said, older coaches have always felt guilty about running guys off. And he said, what Deion has done is hit the fast forward button on what the new college football is going to be. And that's it. If you feel like you've made a mistake on a kid, you pat him on the shoulder and you say, I'm sorry, but we missed on you and you need to go to the portal, and we're done. And we're done here. And I'm sorry it didn't work out, but you got to go. And Mike said that Deion will be remembered as having been the pioneer for the new college football. And he said, it goes both ways. If there's a portal and an NIL, then there should be the ability. Now I'm really paraphrasing, but there should be the ability to kind of, well, what a harsh word, purge.
Yeah, sure. That crap works both ways.
That's right. And so I just thought it was really interesting that Mike had that take on Deion. And Deion,
and he said that on the record. Coaches
totally. No, it's on the World website right now. Yeah.
We are the Morning Animals with our friend Bill Haisten, and we are live from Big 12 Media Days, sponsored by Bud Light, Grand Casino, and Fire Lake Casino. Bill, you going to stick around? You got nowhere else to go.
You want to talk about Venables and OU?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. I'm here to measure OU's swag today. I want to check, because I remember some Charlie Strong Texas teams that came in here with garbage body language, and you just knew they were beaten before it even started. And I want to see how the Sooners carry themselves here today.
We'll have more with Bill Haisten live from Big 12 Media Days next on 98.1 FM, WWLS, the Sports Animal.
Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line. Friday, July 21st, Grand Casino Hotel and Resort. Tyler Hubbard. Live. Tickets on sale now at grandboxoffice.com. Don't miss Tyler Hubbard live.
Let's brew some beer.
We grow the barley that makes your beer.
I grow the rice.
I grow the hops. I make the steam. No steam, no beer.
We make the cans. I bottle the beer. I label the beer.
I pack the beer. I deliver the beer.
I drop off the beer.
I serve the beer.
online at all the streaming platforms. Just look up for the Sports Animal. And one thing that I love about our live stream, our live video stream, is I can read comments as the show is going on. And it's fascinating because you've got listeners arguing back and forth about OU and OSU. It started, they were making comments about the show.
Sure.
But then, of course, once Bill came on and started talking about OSU, people went nuts on that. And now they're back to making fun of my hair.
Okay.
Right.
It's all come back home.
Yes. And whoever has their audio up.
They're being mean, Phil. I don't like people being mean.
By the way, Sooner Scoop posted, "Everyone stop being mean," which is
in all caps.
The beautiful irony of
It's
that.
amazing.
And if anybody's going to be mean, it's
Well, that
going
was
to be
after-
Sooner Scoop.
Sooner Scoop was listening.
After
apparently.
Antoni said, Phil looks like he likes the smell of his farts. I have had
Good
enough.
Lord.
Yeah, that's over. Look, there's a flag on the play.
Well,
So,
you know
so
what?
were people? Can I ask you? Were people? Why is the Texas mascot staring at us right now, Bill? Hook him. There you go. Okay, he's. Can we get video of this, Cisco?
I don't
Okay,
know.
you got it. Okay.
3 conference championships in 27 years. Come
There
on
you
now.
go.
Are you hearing this?
Suck that.
It's him, not me. I said you guys have a chance to win the league. I don't know about this guy. I'm for you guys. Horns up. Let's go. There you
Hey,
go.
go win at Alabama, and then I'll come see you.
Yeah, they'll go win at Baylor.
Oh my gosh,
And
here
then
he
beat
comes.
Kansas on your home field.
All right,
Look at this.
Yeah,
Look at- hey, yeah, my
he's
guy.
jacking
There's your
with
camera.
you
There's
guys,
your shot.
man. I can see him. Oh, now he's
Knock that
coming
microphone
over.
off his head.
Oh,
There's your boy. Make sure there's a
look
good
at him.
photograph of this.
He's molesting you guys.
Okay, can we use a different word?
Isn't that a hell of a stat, though? 27 years.
Yeah.
Three conference championships for the most advantaged program in the country.
By the way, we played the clip with Kirk Bowles asking Mike Gundy at the press conference yesterday about should Texas be the favorite. And I said this earlier, Bill.
Oh, right.
They don't have Texas on their schedule, OSU. Mike Gundy could have gone all in and not worry about the ramifications.
Right.
He could have stepped in there and said, I don't know what metric we're using because we've dominated Texas.
Right.
He didn't do that, but
Right.
he could have.
That's another stat that blows my mind.
How-
that last 13 years of that series.
So OU
Texas is the only team in the conference. Like Steve Sarkisian, I think everybody thinks like, okay, well, he's building something. Texas is the only school that has a coach that might, no matter what position he's in, there's a chance he might not be the coach a year from now.
Like
I
no
think that's
matter
about the only school that could boast that.
like what's the number, Carrie, you think on
West
number of
Virginia,
wins?
too. I mean, West Virginia, they can't wait to get rid of him.
Well, yeah, but he's built up to that, and he's been. Neil Brown has not been great. I mean, he's just been so-so.
All right,
His
so what is
athletic director
Texas?
got fired
So
too.
let's say Texas doesn't make the conference championship game. Could Texas fire him just if they finish third? I mean, they probably could.
Well, Ron recited
I think it's
the
a
schedule
combination.
already.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of how the quarterbacks develop. Like if Quinn Ewers has a bad year and Arch Manning comes in and he doesn't look good, like if it just looks like you're in disarray offensively, he could be fired.
And Gary, I said this during the birthday segment. My question was, when's the last time Texas won 10 games in the regular season? It's all the way back to 2009 when they
Played
were
for
really
the
good.
national title, yeah.
So, I mean, it's been a long time, but their first 3 games 4 games before they even get to OU, they have to play at Alabama, they have to play at Baylor, and they have Kansas coming in there. They could lose 2 games before they even see the Texas State Fair.
Yeah, they could.
That's possible.
The key to Texas season will be how they manage disappointment coming out of Tuscaloosa, because they've had so many years, because they're going to lose at Alabama. So they've had so many years where they would have a September, a non-conference loss, right?
Yeah.
And it just seems to just break their hearts, and they just never recover. So they've got to recover from Alabama, and after that, we'll see.
All right, we're some of the teams are showing up. OU will be here today. Brent Venables, you mentioned you're looking for the way they're carrying themselves, their presence.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have any clear thoughts on what OU could be this year?
Well, I mean, all right. So, just 30 seconds ago, we were speculating on what it would take for maybe Sarkisian to be out at Texas. I mean, so Carrie, since you're in the eye of the storm there, let's say Brent loses 4 times, and a couple of them aren't particularly, you know what I mean? Not all losses are created equal, but if OU loses 4 times, does Joe stand pat and take this situation into the SEC, or do you think Joe would have a decision to make in December as to whether you want to stand pat or make a change and try to take fresh momentum or a fresh approach into the SEC?
Well, it really is. It is not so much Joe. It's what do the donors think? I mean, they've got a lot of facilities planned. And
yes,
it's really crazy, Bill, because like with all the NIL stuff that's going out there, I've never heard from like the big money donors more than I do now. Like I will just get calls out of the blue from these guys that just want to talk about things and where things stand. And all those guys that I've talked to, they want to see 9 wins this season. And the fans want to see 10. But all of them, and look, you never know how somebody's going to feel until you see if OU lays another egg this year, you can't say what those emotions are going to be from those guys that have all the money. But everyone that I've talked to basically says Brent's not in trouble, this year, regardless of what happens.
Well, I mean, Bill, you just talked about Oklahoma State and your thoughts on their season. I mean, Vegas is all over everything we're talking about. Oklahoma State's win total 6.5, great number. OU is 9.5. I couldn't, with any great confidence, put money on OU and say they're going to be over 9.5 wins. Yeah. There's no way I could right now.
Doesn't OU play at Cincinnati? Isn't that a conference road game?
Yeah, it is a road game. Yeah,
yes,
they play at Cincinnati.
That's right. That's right.
See,
at BYU.
That's a hard. You think the Cincinnati people aren't going to be foaming at the mouth for that? I mean, it's.
I don't think Cincinnati's going to be any good, Bill.
I'm just saying.
They lost half their roster. They lost their coaching staff. Not this year.
Right, but I'm just saying.
Not that OU was, a good road team last year against anybody, but I got to think they're better than Cincinnati.
But in addition to the big picture and the record or whatever, the Cotton Bowl just cannot be another disaster. Right.
Well, Dylan Gabriel didn't play in the
game.
I
understand. But ultimately though, it's going to say 49-0 forever.
No, it was an ill-prepared coaching staff. It was an ill-prepared team. It was an absolute bleep show, Bill.
Oh, yes, unwatchably bad football game.
Hey, if they don't win 9 games with this schedule, obviously they're not going to fire Brent Venables.
No,
that's
it's not a good
year.
schedule. It's
an
an easy schedule.
Yes, yeah.
It might be the easiest schedule OU's had since like the 2010s.
Barry Trammell said it's the easiest schedule they've ever had in the history of their program.
Yeah, I remember crunching some numbers a few months ago, and the combined record of the teams on the schedule is like 500 overall or something. And it's
the non-conference schedule is not great,
right?
And that's where you start.
But you get to go to Tulsa.
Sure enough, yeah. How
many points is Kevin Wilson going to put up a game this year?
I don't know. I saw Braylon Presley at a 7-on-7 3 nights ago, and I think they're going to be pretty good offensively, and they do have a heck of a quarterback. In fact, I would say Braxton at TU is as good. Tulsa is as good at quarterback going into the season as most teams. Will he be there next year? No. He'll have a nice season and then a Power 5 will.
It's what you do. Yeah, you have a good year at a non-Power 5, you're going to be at a Power 5.
But for Kevin Wilson to have compelled this kid to stay after he was in the portal and to come back out of it. And, when I asked Braylon Presley, what to expect. So I think they are going to be really creative, and I think they've got some nice weapons. So I think they'll be a consistent
but they'll be a disaster on
point.
Defense,
But
right?
defensively, I don't know that they can stop anybody.
I don't think any team in the state can stop anybody.
Well,
they didn't last year.
Phil, do you have any parting shots for Bill?
I miss you, Bill.
I miss you too. I do. I miss you guys.
Do you still have my lasagna pan? Or no, you were you gave it back immediately.
Right.
Yeah, whenever
send him a lock of your hair, Phil.
That was what an amazing gift that was. Phil made me.
I heard he drove to Tulsa.
Yeah.
Well, he went to. I think he went to see Maggie, but I mean,
Yeah.
but thank you for the.
And then because you were under the weather, Bay. Are you doing better? I mean, people want to know. Are you making a big comeback?
I'm fine. I mean,
That's
I
great
went
news.
back to work 9 days after I got out of the hospital. So I mean, I look like hell, but I went back to work. So I mean,
It's great to see you, man. It's even better to hear from you.
I would like to see all of you guys soon.
Glad you're back. Hey, listen, you can take us to the place with the naked lady on the wall. We can go back there.
Oh,
again.
the one in the basement.
Right.
Oh, the cellar dweller.
Yeah,
right.
because the velvet paintings down there are worth the price of admission.
Hey,
alone.
they've redone it a little bit. It's even more funky now, Phil. So.
Okay.
When I mentioned at first this morning that you were going to pop in here, Spinozzi's first thought was Big 12 Media Days a couple years ago. You at the bar talking to somebody, and I won't explain exactly what the details were, but
A couple of years ago, he says that was 2014. But anyway,
Yeah, we were in the hotel,
Yeah.
and there was an uninvited guest who kind of slid into the bar area
Right.
and cozied up the bill, and I was like, "Wow, all right,
Well,
my
we
man
were
Bill
watching
Haisten."
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. I
Right.
guess she was interested in baseball. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was the first night I met like all of you guys.
yeah,
was
we
that weekend.
negotiated the deal.
I
We
mean,
got
I knew
it done.
Curtis, but I hadn't met Phil or Ron or.
And your
so-
world changed.
It did actually. Sure.
We
did.
met over hired help, and I'll never forget it.
Yep.
We are the Morning Animals, and we are live from Big 12 Media Days.
Hey, thank you to everybody who's been commenting all along too. We've enjoyed watching your comments, and it looks like, guys, I don't know if you noticed, but somebody said 10-2 should be the floor with that schedule, Curtis, and other people said 9-3. It better be 9-3. So that seems to be the number everybody's thinking about.
We are sponsored today by Bud Light, Grand Casino, Fire Lake Casino, and we're streaming on all platforms. So if you want to watch the Morning Animals as well as listen to them, you can either go to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you follow the sports animal on social media. We are streaming.
To all of the local.
All the way. When I go to training.
Our daily reminder. We've got men and women who serve. We thank them for their service. We thank their families as well, because when you got someone deployed, you don't always know where they're at. A lot of worry that goes along with that. We are live from Big 12 Media Days, sponsored by our good friends at Bud Light, Grand Casino, and Fire Lake Casino. And before we get into things, I know we got a birthday. Is that correct?
Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday. Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday. Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday. Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday.
Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday.
Happy birthday to my ride or die since I was a day old. My beautiful, wonderful, lovely sister, Alex Adams Glass.
Oh, nice.
Happy birthday.
I like how you went ride or die.
She's my ride or die. We're best friends.
That's cool.
That is cool. That's really cool.
I wasn't that close with my sister growing up.
Max is never going to say that thing on the radio about his sister.
No,
ever. Or anybody for that matter. He doesn't have a ride or die. He's a lone wolf.
Now that you brought that up. So yesterday, I'm pulling into the driveway. He comes running out the front door, dead sprint. He's only got jeans on. He's not wearing shoes, and he doesn't have a shirt on. So my first thought is he's on a dead run like that, and he's running down the block. One of the dogs got loose. So I followed him. He was on a dead run. Keep that in mind. Just wearing pants, no shoes, no shirt, no socks. And I'm thinking, oh, God, maybe all the dogs got out.
Uh-huh.
No, he was running for the ice cream truck. That was literally 2 blocks away.
My man.
Hey, he's on a mission.
A man on a mission. Hey, I just got some information. You know the audio we had this week about the girl on the plane losing her mind?
Yes.
Right.
Well, one of my OG&E guys, every year my OG&E guys, they drive me around during the 12 days of Spinoza. Spence just sent me a photo of her. She is a proud Oklahoma State alum.
Are you sure about that?
I have an article right here in front of me. Yes.
Ride 'em cowgirl.
Fresh out of college at Oklahoma State University, Tiffany Gones joined a recruitment firm in her hometown of Dallas. Yep, it's her.
Congratulations.
I saw
Pistols firing.
I saw a TikTok of the guy who she claimed was not a human, explaining exactly what the interaction was. And apparently he convinced her that he was part of the Illuminati.
Hold on, so he was jacking
with her, and
Carrie,
it went really bad.
Is this the real guy, or is someone acting like he was there?
No, it was the real guy. It was the real guy.
So he was messing with her, not realizing that she would
she
take...
started.
She was
She
wasted.
started. He kind of was jokingly saying, she was looking at some of his tattoos, and she was asking him what they were, and he was explaining to her what they were, and then she started the whole, well, that's of the devil kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, okay, this lady's a little nuts. I'm going to mess with her. And he kept saying things until she really did believe that he was Satan.
He's, she's an executive for a company in Dallas.
But all reports were she was hammered drunk.
Oh, yeah,
too.
she was wasted out of her mind.
All
You could hear it.
reports, Phil, all you had to do was watch her or look and listen to her.
Yeah, she was having a bad moment.
That was the report I was referring to. Curtis.
All reports.
All reports indicate she was drunk.
Will they haul you off a plane?
Play the audio. Find the audio. I think we can decipher 3 seconds in what she was up to.
Hey, and speaking of updates from weird stories, that guy who was throwing all the stuff out of the windows at Caesar's Palace in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
the woman who he took hostage,
This is a great story.
claims that she only slept with him because she thought he was a reality star from MTV. But then she said we made love, and then all he did was smoke meth the rest of the time.
And okay, so who threw what out the window then?
Turns out he threw a lot of stuff out the window.
Right.
He threw the TV.
It looked like a nightstand.
It was a nightstand. It was not the safe because that Caesar's Palace does attach those to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So it was anything that he could get his hands on. He threw for no discernible reason.
Yeah, but my man, just convincing someone he was a TV star.
So he must
She was
have-
like, all right, I'll have sex with you. Why
She
not?
said the only reason I slept with him, because I didn't know she had slept with him. I thought he had taken her hostage. She was in the hallway. No, she was having the time of her life until she wasn't.
Okay, now we've got more mascot shenanigans. Boomer and or Sooner have arrived.
Right.
I don't know. I see Boomer. I don't know if he left Sooner behind, Carrie, but yeah. Okay, yeah. I think Sooner is up on stage with all the other mascots and cheerleaders. Boomer didn't get the invite. He's hanging out over here.
You can tell the difference because of the birthmark on the perineum. So
Turn him upside down, Curtis, and have a look.
But Boomer's going around just hugging a bunch of rando media people.
I get so uncomfortable in those situations.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know what mascot phobia is termed, but I have it.
Well, I get you don't know what's or who's under that.
They can't speak. I mean, what are you supposed to do with them?
I was scared of Pistol Pete till I was like 13.
Yeah. Although he's just by far the coolest mascot is Pistol Pete. Second, as far as who is here, I don't know. I kind of like the Wildcat, Kansas State. What's his name? With the head, just the
Willie
the Wildcat. Yeah, he walks around with just the Wildcat head and the uniform, just the shirt.
Well, Carrie, there's a real thing called masculophobia. You have it.
Is that?
I have it. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of all that stuff we're talking about right now, Cisco, our boss, we need to point this out and thank him, has done such an unbelievably good job of getting all this stuff broadcasted for you to be able to watch the streaming. I mean,
that's not easy.
It is outstanding. I mean, it's every single bit of it is absolutely top notch. So, Cisco, thank you so much.
He's got custom sports animal content during
Right.
commercials.
You should look at the setup he has.
Good shot of the cheerleaders there. Thank you.
Which, by the way, the best radio we've had was before 7 because that's when we weren't on camera. So we have to be on our best behavior after he shows up. So, when the boss is here, you act a little better. But
tell the mascots to quit hamming it up on camera.
Are you watching
pissing me off?
Are you watching him?
Oh yeah,
It was Iowa State's the mascot was just doing a little dance for us.
Just don't linger too long around the cheerleaders. All right, that's great.
But just long enough. I mean, there's a sweet spot.
By the way,
yeah, what's that sweet spot, Phil? Where your mouth falls open.
By the way,
pops, close your mouth. Flies are going to get in there.
12 Things the Beard, which I
Leering.
think Cisco could get a picture of him right now. 12 Things the Beard, again, sharp dress today. He actually went to a suit store yesterday to upgrade his game from yesterday.
I love that.
It's tight, man.
He has
I
his.
think they call them suit stores.
Yeah, I mean he went to a men's
tailor,
like
Just say
fine clothing shop. I don't know. I mean, he didn't go to a tailor. He went to
Okay,
a
Men's
clothier.
Warehouse is not a.
It wasn't Men's Warehouse. He
clothier.
went to
How's
like
that
a
sound?
clothier. But he had his own rankings of the cheerleaders, and he is a big fan of the new teams coming into the conference.
I'm sure he is.
Right.
And he was
Look
so
at those
excited.
shoes. I'm proud of 12 Things the Beard. He's looking
He
sharp.
is a handsome fella, and I hope he cleans up.
I mean, nobody sleeps in a van better than this guy, and then comes out of it looking like $1 million.
Late night Lothario Mark Rogers is on site right now.
Mark is.
He's
here,
my
yeah.
favorite mascot of all time.
He breaks the no talk rule way too much.
Okay, Phil. Mark is here. Say that again.
Mark, you're my favorite mascot of all time. I hate the other ones, but I like you.
Well, I love you too, Phil.
You walked into that.
I said I liked you. I didn't say I loved you.
Well, I just love the
Why'd you?
The mascot for Crazy Horse 2 in Las Vegas.
Hey, I gotta. Can you cue up the Dana Holgerson clip for me, Phil? Mark, I gotta tell you, you guys did some awesome stuff yesterday. You and Kale were great.
Thank you.
It was great stuff, man.
The Sonny Dykes interview was fantastic.
He was so good. Did he get you fired up? I mean, I was just listening, and he had me believing his offense might be as good this year as it was last year.
Our best stuff was off the air yesterday. I think we're going to play some of it, and I know that it's already up on podcast.
It's up on the podcast.
But I think we'll probably play some of that over the air. But I thought that was, our interview with Dana was great.
Yeah.
And then the Oklahoma State kids. So the Dana stuff was really good. He just sat down and he looked at Kale and he said, "Let's talk anything but football."
Here he is talking about burnout.
Yeah.
Well, most people ask, can you really turn it off like that? Oh, absolutely, I can.
No doubt.
Yes, absolutely, I can. I learned that from Mike Leach. You know, he's like, look, for these 4 weeks in summer, don't call me, and I don't want to call you. You know, we're out of here. You know, and I think that's important, especially now because burnout is real. Like, I would argue that's what got Leacher.
Yeah,
it's burnout.
No
I
doubt.
mean, it's real. You know, and so I'm trying not to get burned out. I don't want to be coaching when I'm 65 years old. But I don't really want to get burned out right now in the first year in the Big 12. So get away.
I thought that was really good stuff.
That's insanely, open.
And it is amazing. I mean, when you think about like the schedules of those guys and really everybody in college athletics, but coaches, I mean, recruiting never ends. I mean, you've got, all kinds of things with your coaches and players that are on your team. I mean, those guys work harder than just about anybody except for probably doctors.
It kind of started because I asked him where he was going to go on vacation or if he'd been on vacation, and he almost was trying to qualify the answer because, I think he felt the pressure of we really can't take vacations. I mean, there's so much
the transfer
and
portal
so much
has
going
changed
on
everything
in college football right now that you have to apologize if you get away for a while.
I mean, he basically said that killed Mike Leach,
we went on to talk about this, and I've heard Bob say this many times about trying to coaching at Kansas State, there was one way to do things, and that was everybody stayed in the office until 11 o'clock at night, and you grinded and you worked hard, and there really wasn't much time or room for fun. And then when he went to work with Steve Spurrier, it was basically like, hey, Bobby, let's go play some golf, or we're going to the lake. And Bob said he thought that kind of had to adjust to that for a while because it was so different, but that he learned a lot from that and really took more of that to OU. I think it's very fascinating. The same thing with Brent Venables is because Brent's got a lot of Bill Snyder and Dabo in him, which is work and grind and work and grind. And I don't know. We'll see how that translates to being a head coach. And if that, I think I would much better function in Bob's or Spurrier's system than I would in Snyder's.
We are the Morning Animals, and as you can tell, we are live from Big 12 Media Days, day 2 of Big 12 Media Days, sponsored by Bud Light, Grand Casino, and Fire Lake Casino. We are the Morning Animals. This is 98.1 FM WWLS, the sports animal.